We believe that the Old Testament had a lot of promises and prophecies made, and that Jesus not only fulfilled but exalted all of those. Like, what do you say to that?
Sorry to burst your bubble, but he didn't fulfill any messianic prophecies that the Jews were expecting. Zilch.
I know that a Jewish person wouldn't believe that he did, but he fulfilled the promises made in the Old Testament in Acts.
Acts 3 quotes Deuteronomy 18:18, where Moses says, God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your brethren. To him you shall listen. This is quoted about Jesus, but this is a misattribution of the prophecy, because this prophecy is not about Jesus. It cannot even be about an Israelite prophet. It's about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He is the prophet like Moses.
I just don't understand how you think Prophet Muhammad...
You cannot agree, but what's the evidence? The prophecy comes from Deuteronomy 18. It starts in verse 15. It's in response to the Israelites asking God not to hear his voice anymore, because on the day that he spoke to them on Sinai, or Horeb, is another name for Sinai, his voice freaked them out and they felt like they were about to die. So they asked God, please let us not hear your voice again, lest we die. So God says what they say is good. So, Navi akim laka mikerev achika, a prophet I will raise up for you from the midst of your brother, like you, Moses, from the midst of your brothers, the Israelites. So, the prophet must come from the midst of the brothers of Israel. Here in this verse, in this context,
the brothers of Israel, not Ishmael. So what do you say to that?
God speaks to Israel as one person. He uses singular second person pronoun. So he doesn't speak to Israel as a nation. He doesn't say, I will raise up for you guys a prophet. Not like that. It's hard to describe in English because the word you in English is both for the singular referent and the plural referent. In English, I could speak to a group of 5 and I could say you. I could speak to one person, say you. Hebrew and Arabic don't work that way. When you speak to one person, you say a word. You speak to more than 2 people or more than one person, you say another word. So in these passages, God is speaking to Israel as if he is one person. And he says, I will raise up for you a prophet like Moses from the midst of your brethren. So the prophet will come from the brethren of the one person Israel. If I say...
Right, and who is Israel? Tell us.
Israel is the nation. He's speaking to them as if they are one person. So if I tell you live, I'm going to give $5 to your brother. Do you get the $5?
Yes. But you're... wait.
Answer. Do you get the $5?
The point... No, you'd give it to my brother. I don't know if he wants to share it.
So you don't get it.
I mean, depends on what he wants to do with it.
No.
But
from what I'm saying, do you get it?
No.
So God says, I will raise up a prophet from the brothers of Israel. Not from the midst of Israel. From the brothers of Israel. The brothers of Israel are the Edomites. Deuteronomy says, do not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. Or an Ishmaelite. Both of those nations happen to be Arabs. The Edomites are Arabs, and the Ishmaelites are Arabs. Point 2, when the prophet comes, the voice of God will not be heard. That's the whole point of the promise. They say, God, we don't want to hear your voice anymore. It almost killed us the first time. He says, okay, I'm going to send you a prophet. You won't hear my voice directly. Rather, I will put my words on his mouth. When Jesus came, the disciples describe, and Peter, you say, we heard that voice when God says, this is my son with whom I'm well pleased. So Jesus is disqualified because he's an Israelite, because they heard the voice of God. And third, in Deuteronomy chapter 34, verse 10, the Torah says, no more shall arise a prophet like Moses in Israel, whom the Lord knew face to face. Depending on which recension of the Torah, it's either past tense or future tense, like the Samaritan reads. The point is, there will be never a prophet in Israel like Moses. But God promises a prophet like Israel in this prophecy. So then the prophet cannot be an Israelite. And the prophet, from 3 perspectives, must be an Arab.